Okay, hey guys, how y'all doing? Yes, I'm back with an update on the book, The Prisoner. Yes, for our book club. Let me tell you something. I read the first half, the first part of this book, and it's good. It is really good. I'm like, huh. And it was crazy because what happened was the first part. It goes from one like to chapter 56, and then it starts over in part two, chapter one. Okay, so yeah, guys. I'm telling you, I'm really enjoying this. She was actually, they was actually, okay. So she's a young girl, what happened was her mother and her father had passed away. She wound up moving to London by herself. She's hungry, what I'm saying? She don't really have nowhere to live. She's living in these different hostels. And she runs into these two women inside the, like a coffee shop, and one of the girls is crying, and she winds up and the girl ordered a blueberry muffin, but she never ate it, so she asked the girl, could I have your blueberry muffin? Because like I said, she was hungry, what I'm saying? She was basically by herself, and she had just lost her job because it was just for the Christmas season. Yeah, so the girl wound up, she was back in that coffee shop the next day, and the girl came back and bought another muffin, was like, here you go. And she was like, well, what's this for? She was just saying to herself, well, she just bought this for me. She was like, yeah, she was just asking her. She was like, I seen you here last time, and I knew you like that blueberry muffin, and I kind of figured that you would want another one. So here you go. And she was like, oh, all right, well, thanks. And this, and that. She was like, I wanted to ask you a question. Um, why are you here? Who are you? What's going on with you? And she was just telling her how basically her parents had passed away. She said her mother died when she giving birth to her, but her father died 3 years ago. He had cancer and this, and that. And she was basically by herself. She had no more family. She was the only child, and she was like, well, the reason why I was sitting there and I was crying that day. She said, well, why did you follow me that day that you seen me? And she was like, because I just wanted to make sure you was okay because you was so upset and crying. And that's why I followed you. And she was like, oh, okay. She was like, well, that was very kind to you. She was like, what happened was while I was crying because me and my boyfriend, we had just broke up. And we was together for a very long time. And I thought we was gonna get married, but he wound up leaving me for a younger woman. And she said, so I was devastated when I came into the shop talking to my girlfriend that day, and she was like, yeah, I could tell you was. And she was like, she was like, but I have my own business, and since he left, and since we're not together anymore, um, I really haven't had time to do anything like around the house, like because while we was together, he did most of the cleaning and the cooking, and this, and that. And now that he's not there, I don't have anyone to do these things for me. And then my business is suffering because I've just been so upset and so distraught. So she said, but I was wondering maybe you could do those things and I can hire you and maybe pay you. And she was like, yeah, sure, I would. And she was like, okay, great. She was like, and she was like, how much? She was like, and I'm gonna pay you $150 for the week. And she was like, oh, that's great. And she was just thinking like that. She's gonna have to pay the hostel $120 a week to stay there, and then she would just have, then she got to use for car fare to get back and forth to her house to clean. And she was just saying how she probably would only have like $10 or $20, but that was fine because she needed it. So she went on and just took the job. She said, yeah, she said, so you can come on to the house and I'm going to show you your room. And she was like, wait a minute. You want me to live? I'll be living with you. She was like, yeah. She said, I have a room. You can stay there in the room. She said, and I won't charge you any rent. She said, you keeping the house clean and cooking for me is good enough. And she was just like, she was like, wow, she was like, man, you saving my life right now. She was like, yeah. She said, no, you saving mine. So they kind of saved each other and whatever. And her name was Carolyn. The girl who helped her, her name was Carolyn, and this girl, her name is Emily. Yes. And so Emily moved in with her and whatever, and was doing all the cooking and cleaning. And they became very good friends. And she was like a year later, and throughout that year that she was living there with her, she was introduced to two other friends of Carolyn, a girl named Lena and and Justin. And so what happened was, Justin, Emily, she actually is half French, so she speaks French. And when Carolyn found that out, she said, "Well, I got a girlfriend who also is half French, and she speaks French also. Maybe sometimes y'all can hang out so you can speak the French language together." And she was like, "Okay." So they would get together like once a week, sometimes her and Justin, and just hang out and so they could speak their language. And they also would get together like for dinner, like every third weekend or something like that. And Emily would cook and whatever. They would come over, drink wine, and have dinner together. They was really close friends. And Lena and Justin, they worked for this magazine, like this celebrity magazine. It was very popular. And the guy who owned it, his name was Ned. He was like this billionaire, um, yeah, he was this billionaire guy, and he had inherited a whole lot of money from his grandfather, and his father was kind of upset because instead of him being the heir, they made the grandson the heir, so the father always felt some kind of way and didn't want to have anything to do with the son. But he still loved the son, cared for him. He just was like, money, like, can come between relationships sometimes. So, but what happened was, yeah, so what happened was like Ned was on Justin. She liked the just he liked Justin. He was kept like coming on to her, but she was like, I don't get involved with people I work with. He was like, "Oh, you don't work, we don't work together. You work for me." And she just look at him and be like, "Well, I don't get involved with people that I work for, and this and that." And he was used to be on her heels and whatever, but come to find out, he was a mess. He was a trip because he wound up inviting Emily because what happened was Emily when they went to a party they was throwing Justine she was throwing a party for Ned and his company. He got this foundation also, so they was throwing this and they was going to donate the proceeds to his foundation. So what happened was when she was there, he met Emily and Carolyn, and he was like, "Oh, these your friends?" Because Lena and Justin they worked for Ned and whatever, and they was like he was just saying, what you do, and that was asking what you do. She was like, "Well," he was like, "I'm a housekeeper right now. I keep the house for Carolyn, because Carolyn has her own business." So he was like, "Well, do you want to do something else?" She was like, "Yeah, well, I want to be a lawyer. I want to, save up money so I could go to school for law." And he was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds good and whatever." And he was like, "Well, you're looking for another job." He gave her a card and said, "You contact me because we're looking to hire another assistant, and I'm pretty sure we can. Um, the pay is a lot more than what Carolyn is paying you if you want to, switch careers until you become a lawyer." And she was like, "Oh, okay." So she wound up switching careers and whatever to become a lawyer. I mean, she switched careers so she could save money so she could go to law school. Yeah, and she working with him and whatever, and everything seems great. And then one day he calls her and was like, "Listen, I need to go to Las Vegas. I have a celebrity there that I'm trying to get to do an interview for our magazine, and I was hoping maybe you can come with me to convince them." And she's like, "Oh yeah, sure. I've never been to Las Vegas, and I never even been on a plane before." And he was like, "Okay, well it's gonna be good." So they get on this private jet and everything, gives her champagne and really, cater to him, being really nice. And she was like, "Yeah," she was like, she was just hoping that she could call her friend, let her know where she was going, but she said it was like the spirit of the moment, and so they wind up just going and whatever. And so she's riding to Las Vegas with this guy, and they there, and they get this beautiful suite. It's like a little, condo, or She said it's so beautiful. She said, she's not used to that, so but she's getting used to it anyway. But so as time going, he was just telling her, you could go ahead, enjoy yourself, enjoy the luxuries that the hotel have and whatever, and just give him my name and tell him that you're my guest and whatever, and you could do whatever you like until we have this meeting with the celebrity. But come to find out, they have lunch one day, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to tell you, um, my father has arranged for me to get married to this woman that I don't want to marry." He was like, "And I'm asking you." it's like a business proposition. Let's get married. He was like, listen, I know you're gonna go to law school, and I'm willing to pay for your schooling if you marry me for 30 days, just so I can, get my father off my back about marrying this woman that he want me to marry. He's saying it'll be a good business deal, but I don't want to marry her. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it, and so I'm just asking you, let us get married, and so I won't have to marry this woman because we were supposed to get together this weekend, and I came to Las Vegas to avoid it, and he was telling her that, and he was like, but listen, how much do you think it'll cost for you to go to law school? And she was like, and she told him like maybe 100,000. He was like, all right, how about we agree to this? I'll give you $100,000 if you marry me for 30 days. We stay together and then we get separated. It just didn't work out and whatever. And she was like, I don't know. He was like, look, he said, you ain't got nothing to lose. He was like, listen, and then your school will be completely paid for, and then, we'll get separated after 30 days, we'll say that we thought about it and we jumped into it too quick and we wasn't ready to be together, we wasn't ready for that. And she was like, and she wound up agreeing to it. She wound up marrying him and whatever. And then the next day, she gets this phone call from Carolyn saying how on Friday night, Ned went over Justin's house and she's telling some how they had to go over some contracts, but he tried to sexual assault her, and she's very upset and she's pressing charges against him. Are you okay? I know you with him. Are you all right? Don't trust him. You be careful. You watch yourself. You ain't do anything that he didn't force you to do anything or anything like that. And she's like, and she's hearing all this and she's saying to herself, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to? Oh my like, how I'm gonna tell Carolyn I just married this guy that actually sexually assaulted our friend, my friend." And so she's like, so she's so embarrassed and so humiliated. She doesn't tell Carolyn that she got married, but Carolyn already knows because he done sent pictures to the press, to his dad, you know what I'm saying, and everything, saying how he had a secret marriage, how he then got married secretly in Vegas to this woman, and this and that. They've been having a secret love affair, and she like, oh my goodness. So she's like, so she's laying in the bed. She's like, oh my God, laying in her room. She's like, man, what am I going to? She said, and he told her, he was like, this is a business proposition. There's not no love there or anything like that. He never asked to sleep with her or anything like that, but it was all business. It was all business. So, but come to find out, a lot of things started coming out about this guy Ned. Ned wasn't a good guy. Come to find out, they don't know where she's at. And Carolyn telling Emily that Christine is Justin is she's missing. She's we can't find her. We don't know where she at. Ever since she went to the police to press charges against Ned for the sexual assault, we haven't seen her. We're unable to find her. So she's like, oh my goodness, where is he? But she said, well, listen, don't say nothing to him. I don't want him to get upset with you. I don't want, so she don't say nothing to Ned when he comes there that morning. Like, how you doing, wife? Come on. Let's just make this, just pretend that we married, that this is a good marriage, this and that. But it's actually a business proposition. Let me tell you something. She's all distraught now. She's looking at him like, oh my God, I done married a monster. I married a sexual predator. And this, and that. And she can't say anything to him about it. And they wind up coming back to to London where they from and moving into his big house. She was like, well, I need to go to my apartment myself. He's like, no, I already got all your stuff. He done got all her stuff out the apartment already. She's like, what? He said, all your clothes is already here at my house. Because he got this big, fancy, luxurious mansion on this beautiful land. By this beautiful, I guess it was a river or maybe a lake. hmm So, he got money. They billionaires. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, what? So she's like, she's going from really to nothing to luxury, within a year and a half. So she's in this house with him, and she realized that when you go in, you got to push the code to get in. And when you leave out, you gotta push a code. So when she closed the, he didn't give her the code or nothing. So she just in there and whatever. And so come to find out, he did something to Justin because they couldn't find Justin. Yeah, they couldn't find her at all. And come to find out, he got rid of her. And the girlfriend Lena came by there to talk to him like, "Yo, where's my girlfriend at? We can't find her. And we know that you had sexually assaulted her and she went to the police and now she's missing. I want to know what's going on. Let me tell you something. Right there in the house, he grips her up, covers her mouth, covers her nose, and Emily, she's watching. She's watching it from, wherever she's hiding from. She's in the library somewhere hiding, looking, and whatever, and she watching him just, and so she jumps out like, no, leave her alone, leave her alone. He winds up hitting her, knocking her out. You know what I'm saying? And she said when she came to, she just see him dragging her body and she through the hallway. You know what I'm saying? And then she said she fell back out, passed out again. And she said because he must have hit me hard. He said because I was just so groggy. I opened my eyes and the only thing I could see is the fact that he was just dragging her body out. And then next thing I know, I'm waking up in my room on the floor in my bedroom. She was like, because they had, he gave, look, I'm on the right wing and you on the left wing. That's what he told her. He said, don't come over here to my right wing and I won't be over there on your left wing. You just stay over there. You got everything that you need on in the left wing. You don't need to come over here to the right wing, and I don't want you coming over there. And she was like, all right, yeah, because this is the 360. She couldn't leave. It was like basically a prison. Yeah, but that's just part of part one, okay? And the other part was when she woke up. Let me tell you something. They had because she going back and forth to the present and to the past. Now that was the past. Now the present is they done been they was kidnapped. They done put taped over her mouth, put a blindfold over her, and they done took her to this house where she's in complete darkness. Okay, she's in complete darkness. She can't even see her hand in front of her face. That's how dark it is. And she's in this room, and it's a bathroom off to the side. And she been there. They was there for about a few days. I think they was there for. She thought she was there for 31 days. Oh, she thought she was there for about, yeah, I think 31 days. She thought she was there, or maybe 29. But come to find out, let me tell you something. She was trying to escape and everything from this place, and he was underneath her in the basement. And they told her, his father, yeah, look, it's good, it's good. And I'm on that's just part one. That's just part one. Yes, but the father wound up, he told Ned, your dad not paying the money to get you free. You know what I'm saying? Because basically, he kidnapped them, and these two guys kidnapped them, and was like, yeah. And then he said to him, he was like, well, why you want all this money? Why even? He was like, oh, this ain't for us. It's because of Lena, because they know that they found out that he killed this girl Lena. You know what I'm saying? So Emily's listening because it's like a pipe that she could listen through, and she could hear them talking. From where she's being kept, as a prisoner. So, but child, yes, he told the father, you have to pay this ransom, and the father took so long to pay the ransom that, oh man. So, but when he finally paid the ransom, whatever, they told her, go ahead, and they set her there because basically he told her. He was like, your dad ain't paying this ransom. He said, well, listen, kill my wife and send her body to my dad to make him pay it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, 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 yes. He said, yeah, kill her. Send her dead body to my dad so he could pay the ransom. Let him know that you're not playing. They was like, no, maybe we need to cut one of your limbs off because I don't think he care anything about your wife. But I know he care about you. So maybe we should cut a finger or toe off and send it to your dad and let him know that we ain't playing. He was like, no, no, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Yes, yes, he is this guy Ned is a mess. And then they took her down there, strapped her against the chair and was like, and told her, gave her a paper and told her what to say in this camera for the father. And she was like, Yeah, they gonna kill your son, but they need to because he ain't shit. They had to turn the camera off. And that wound up beating her up. Oh my goodness. Like, he jumped and leaps on her for saying that on the video or whatever. I was like, yo, but she tried to escape a couple of times though to get away from it. It was, yeah. Yeah, but in the end, he wound up paying the ransom, and take him back. But what's crazy is when they went to get her and they set her in the kitchen, they gave her a little cup of coffee, and they told her, well, saying we wait 15 minutes. I'm saying, and by then your eyes will adjust to the light and everything. She's been in complete darkness for days, for weeks. So he's saying your eyes will adjust and whatever, and I want you to read the sheet of paper, and I want you to follow everything on this sheet of paper and whatever, and then just take a leap of faith and whatever. So she was just like, okay, and whatever, saying she's just happy to be alive. But the husband thinks she's dead because they wind up pretending like they shot her, and he was like, "Did you killed her?" He's like, "Yeah, we shot her in her head, but she was still alive though. But they just covered her mouth and took her back to the room to make him think that she was dead. So she's still alive, but the husband thinking she dead. So at the end of the day, when he paid the ransom and the son went back to the father, they left her there at the house, and they gave her a sheet of paper saying how basically that you know, you was married to him for a certain amount of days and this and that, and basically, y'all wasn't, say you don't tell him when y'all was kidnapped, say that y'all went on a vacation for these weeks so he could get away from the media and everything else, accusing him of sexual assault on this other girl. And this and that, and that y'all was just on vacation at a getaway or something like that. It's good. And that's just part one. Now I got part two here, and I don't know what this is about, but she survived that kidnapping that was or was not a kidnapping. We don't know, but she was locked in this room for about 3 weeks in the complete darkness, and yeah, yeah. Well, that's the prisoner, guys. Look, this is just the update of this book, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking this is a good one. Definitely, this definitely a good story here, and I'm just like intrigued. But yeah. So I just wanted to give y'all a brush up on it and let you know how it's going. Now this is the first half. Now I'm gonna start the second half. And so, guys, I want to say also thank you for joining my book club and for liking and subscribing and commenting. All right. If you have any questions, you could just right on below this video, and I will get back to you as my earliest convenience. Yes, I will. All right, so I want to say thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me, and love you.